Hi folks, it's another day in my car and I would like to pull out my jar of questions and see what we can answer for you today. I am singular. All right, I've got one. This one asks, is it harder to help people who are passively suicidal? So first and foremost, let's address that term, passively suicidal. Typically, when we use that term, passively suicidal, it means that we're referring to people that may have the thoughts sort of come in and out of their cognitions, the way they think, perhaps when they're a little bit down in the dumps, and then, people around them come to realize that they're having thoughts of suicide, and then they move on, and it kind of lingers around while they continue to live their day-to-day life. The question is it harder? Of course, everything I say you take with a grain of salt because every family is different, every support system is different, every person is different, but typically speaking, this can be quite draining on the people around them because you're constantly in a state of high stress, right? Because if you know this loved one has thoughts of suicide, that they go in and out, but they're still here with you, this can be cause of a lot of stress that you're taking on. So of course that would be really tough to keep giving and delivering and trying to be present and trying to monitor this person. That would take a lot out of a person. So yeah, that would definitely be harder. Quick notes on this kind of situation. A person can be passively suicidal for a lot of reasons. Oftentimes it's because they haven't really received the kind of help that they need. And while thoughts of suicide are present, you also have thoughts of if only, right? And that is a really important part of a person that is saying, if things were different, if things weren't like this, I wouldn't choose suicide. And so that kind of keeps them pushing forward. And so as a helper, as a caregiver, you really want to tap in and make sure that you're getting this person the help that they need. Oftentimes people who have thoughts of suicide, it's very difficult to ask for direct help for so many reasons, right? The stigma, the taboo, the attitude of like, come on, you pull your socks up, you can cope with this. And the fear of being a burden to their family or their loved ones. And so it's really on the people around them to address this because of that shame, because of that guilt, because of that fear of putting a lot on their plate. And so if you know of someone in your life who may be passively suicidal, you do want to make sure that you're addressing it as directly as possible and getting them the help they need, even if they say, well, I think I'm fine, I just feel like this sometimes. Because here's the deal, that might be true. But the part of them that feels like that sometimes may be alone at times, or it may be further complicated because they have a few drinks during that time. And as we know about alcohol and other forms of drugs, it can be a real big depressant, right? And the things that you think and do may not actually be things you think and do without that influence. And so you really want to make sure you're getting them the help they need so they don't make any decisions when they're perhaps passively thinking about it or it just pops up into their head. So as caregivers, as helpers, if somebody is passively suicidal or having thoughts of suicide, treat it as an imminent thing, okay? Every time to get them the help that they need until we can find something that works for them. Because thinking that they're passively suicidal can often lead us to think, well, they're not that serious. And suicide is always serious because it's literally life and death. So if you've got that person in your life that's passively suicidal, initiate conversation, be direct about it, and get them the help that they need us to initiate for them. If this is your situation, and as a helper, as a person who cares about this person in your life who's having thoughts of suicide, if you are finding that this is lingering for a long time and they go in and out of having these thoughts, what we call passively suicidal, one thing I would really urge is to find a support system for yourself. As I mentioned earlier, this can be really exhausting. It can be really draining, even though all your intentions are good. And sometimes when we are feeling depleted, we aren't our best because we default to a state of stress. And when we go into that default state of stress, we can say and do things that we don't really mean. So it's really important to be an effective helper to this person, that you are also getting the support you need. I know that sometimes this is easier said than done, but this can be as simple as finding a trustworthy friend to talk to. It can be calling a helpline to get some advice. It can be looking up resources. It can be doing your own self-care, whatever that might look like. One thing that has proven to be really beneficial is a support group. So if you have the infrastructure where you live or the resources that can help you connect with others who may be going through similar situations, that's something that I highly urge to you to tap into. Typical analogy, right, of that airplane, which is before you put the mask on the other person, you've got to put your own mask on. And it certainly applies here. So do what you can. Be real with yourself. If you're finding that you are depleted of energy and exhausted and stressed, be honest with yourself and tap in. You don't have to do all the work, right? You can connect this person to a helper who is available, who is skilled, and who is who you can connect them to, who can give them that kind of help specifically. So I know a lot of families feel really alone because of the shame and stigma, but we are changing. Society is changing. Please look up the resources. If you don't know, there's a link in on my channel's bio where you can click on it and find help. I think it's actually findhelp.com. So look at the resources in your community and tap in. There's absolutely no shame in tapping in. As a parent, as a grandpa, as anybody in the family, you are not solely responsible to do this all on your own. You're doing what you can with the tools you have, and it's okay to tap in for some more help.